Council for July 11th, 2016. Let us rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Lord of the universe, we stand in awe of thy creation. We stand in awe of the gift of life to thy creation. And we thank thee for our gifts of life and this community made of thy molding. Give us eyes to see and ears to hear. Amen. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed by our city clerk, Carla Geyer?
Move approval.
And moved, second.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Council discussion. All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Those with no, unanimously approved. Is there a motion to approve the June 27th, 2016 minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. Council discussion. All in favor signify with yes. Yeah.
Item 9 on the meetings, on the minutes.
Say it again.
Item number 9 has a vote of 6-1. It should be 5-1. Dave came in after that.
Right, sir.
Very good. Well read.
That's an eagle eye right there.
You a teacher or something who looks at details?
There's a missing comma, too.
I was never good at that part of it.
With that correction, is there, all in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Opposed with no. Approved. Our guest councilperson for July is Beth Olson. She will not be here tonight, but she will be here next meeting, next week. This is the date, time, and place for a public hearing on rezoning 2.49 acres of land north of McDonald's, comprising 2 properties, to be rezoned from R1 and C2 to C2A, which is commercial district, for the purpose of reducing front yard setback to 10 feet. City Clerk, are there any written comments on this one?
No, Your Honor.
And I will entertain any oral public comments that we may have.
Good evening. Steve Trosky with CGA Engineers out of Marshalltown. We are helping the owner-developer with this project. Be happy to answer any questions you may have about it. I'll just give you a real quick recap of why we're requesting this. The owner is requesting this rezoning for the development of 2 retail and office buildings, approximately 6,000 square feet each, give or take. We are requesting C2A to have reduced setbacks for the odd tapering of the lot. As you know, it tapers to the east, and so we're not quite sure how the lot will be laid out at this point. We haven't gone through a final site layout yet, but the reduced setbacks helps us when we do that planning. There's plenty of right-of-way along the new parkway, so a reduced setback shouldn't impact visibility. And to the south of us, there is a existing shopping center, so reduced setbacks there should not impact the existing landowners to the south.
I'm going to ask you to stay right there, not to move. However, I want to make sure that in this public hearing, and I'll do this under the council discussion.
Sure.
Are there any other comments besides our representative here? Any comments on this hearing? Hearing none, I close the hearing, and then I'll ask a formal motion.
I'll move the second reading of ordinance 1014, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of Waverly, Iowa, providing for rezoning of property from single-family residential R1 and commercial district C2 to commercial district C2A, and amending the city future land use plan from government and mixed use to commercial for 2 properties totaling 2.49 acres located on the southeast corner of 4th Street Southwest and Cedar River Parkway in the 300 block of Cedar River Parkway.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Now council discussion, and we've had that lead-in speech, so we're primed. Council discussion.
Do you have any preliminary plans or conceptual diagrams that you could share with us? It'd be nice before this came to fruition that we could maybe have just some ideas of what you've got in mind.
Sure. At this point, the owner-developer is not aware of who the tenants would be. They're still finalizing some of those agreements. But what I can show you is a rough schematic design. Is this on? And this goes to your monitors, correct? Yes. Can you see this okay?
Turn on the...
No, I've done this 2 weeks in a row. Monitors are fine. Well, as you can see on the monitor, again, this is just a very rough concept plan. The owner is not locked into this. It is an odd-shaped lot, and he does need 2 separate buildings, so this is kind of the path that we're moving towards. Again, this may change as we get some more information with who those tenants might be, or as we need to alter parking counts as necessary for those tenants. But this is a very rough layout. You can see in here we've got a driveway that could possibly connect to the southern shopping center. We are also open to having this driveway moved over here to go in front of the larger building out there.
And it looks like from your drawing too that the access is going to be, which from when I watched your planning and zoning, you're going to have like a 4-way intersection right after the median ends on the Cedar River Parkway there.
Yes, that will be the main ingress egress to the site. There will be no driveways off of 4th Street or the bulk of the site up here. So this will be the main access.
I guess I'm just curious, how does this line up with other businesses along 4th Street? And maybe you're not aware of this, or if others are. But is this kind of right in line with everybody else, McDonald's and others on 4th Street?
As far as the actual building being back?
Yeah, so if we would approve the minimal setback, would that be the same frontage as the other buildings?
Actually, Dave, I think it may be just a little closer than McDonald's building, the building site itself, because it is 50 feet back from that right-of-way. But we have an extra 10 feet on the lot that fronts 4th from the existing right-of-way. So I don't know what the measurement is and whether it'd be 30 or 20 or, I assume it'd be at least 30
Yes.
back. So that's probably 40 back from the 4th Street.
So there's no sidewalk on here. We're condemning that sidewalk out.
It's still there. It'll be still there on 4th Street.
You have a picture? I see you got a picture. Is that in our packet?
It should be on,
Oh,
yep.
That's not of this, though.
Yeah, you can see the sidewalk is already there along 4th Street, and it would stay where it was.
So then the parking lot would start just to the...
At
Just
the
to the
parcel
east.
line.
Again, this layout is not set in stone. These are just concept plans that we're working through with the owner at this point.
so what we're seeing here, is that what's being proposed then? Because it looks like it's farther back than McDonald's, or
Well, the right-of-way is already 10 feet farther back from 4th Street than the McDonald's right-of-way. You can see the first yellow line is the old right-of-way, and then we acquired another 10 feet. We did not sell the extra 10 feet, or did not include that in the development agreement.
oh, okay.
So we added some extra right-of-way to give ourselves a cushion already, and that's why they're trying to get a 50-foot, or relief from that 50-foot, because it would be a setback from what their parcel actually is. So it would actually take it farther back from the 4th Street than the other
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
buildings.
As shown, this building is approximately 60 feet back from the right-of-way line, so the property line.
I have a question for Bill. I'm just looking at the diagram that you gave us. Is it the policy of the city that on some of these thoroughfares, we have sidewalk on one side, but not necessarily on the other. And the reason I'm asking that is it then fair to say that we do not need to allow for sidewalk in front of this proposed development, since the walk is on the other side of the street?
Well, the sidewalk would remain on the west side of this development, along 4th Street. And we have talked with the developer actually about incorporating a 6-foot sidewalk on this side of the road too, on this side of the parkway.
On the north side.
On the south side?
Yes, on the south side also. There's a 10-footer on the north side, but we still want to have the walkability and the connection, and so we are requiring a sidewalk on that south side of the parkway.
So then the diagram on the screen that shows parking might be crowding that a bit. Would that be fair to say?
Well, our sidewalk would be within the right-of-way, so it would be on the other side of that line.
Okay, I see. Yep. Okay, thank you.
Well, any other questions? I know this comes with, you went to planning and zoning, right? And I think they had a unanimous approval to recommend to us, so sounds good. We hope your tenants, potential tenants, come to fruition. Any other comments before we vote? Roll call vote, please.
Resinacek.
Yes.
Lampy.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Angus.
Yes.
Second reading of ordinance 1014, unanimously approved. Thank you. At this time, I will entertain any public comments on any items not on tonight's agenda. Hearing none, we move to our consent calendar. We have 7 items on tonight's consent calendar. They are 2 team services bills for the airport. We have a Paul Miller design bill for the golf course pond project. We have a Heartland asphalt bill for the 16th Street Southwest reconstruction. We have the Feldman concrete bill for the ped ramp. And we have 2 beer permits, one for the Bremer County Fair Association and one for Quick Star. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Opposed with no. Unanimously approved. Regular business item number 1 is the Historic Preservation Commission's update report to the council and the city on the activities of this great commission. We call on Chairman Don Meyer to present.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me this evening. It's my pleasure to update you on the work of our commission. We've been busy, but things have gone really, really well. The first thing I want to do is invite you all to a special event we have this Saturday as part of Heritage Days. We're celebrating our downtown historic district. So we have a walking tour that'll go from 1 to 4 downtown. And if we're asking people to just meet at the chamber office, we'll give you a map and show you the buildings that we're highlighting. We have posters in each of those buildings that share some old photos, share some history of that building, some history about the people who own the building. And, you know, that's a really great way to get familiar with the history of our downtown. You're going to find out some very interesting and fun facts about some of those buildings. For example, people like Mr. Levy, who had a clothing business downtown, and he advertised not only on the side of his building with a huge mural, he also advertised on the dam, which you just don't think about today. But there were several people that advertised on the dam. You'll also learn about Mr. Hiller, who also was a clothier downtown, and he liked to have lots of sales, and he would advertise his sales with headlines like, "Mr. Hiller's pants are half off." "Mr. Hiller's pants are down." Those kinds of things. So there's a lot of really fun things that you'll find out. So we really encourage you to come on down. We have a special program at 3 o'clock. That'll be in the East Bremer Diner upstairs in the back. Mayor Infelt is kind enough to come and speak, and I'll be sharing some remarks. We'll be giving out our Waverly Historic Preservation Award at that program. And the diner is also providing homemade pie for everybody who comes. So if that doesn't get you there, I don't know what will. Wanted to also let you know that a top priority project that our commission will be working on this year is to update our website with the information about what it means to be in these historic districts. We now have 4 historic districts in town, our downtown, and then 3 residential historic districts. There are many communities who would love to have 1 historic district. We have 4. And I commend our commission for following through on the nominations. And we couldn't have done it, of course, without the funding we got from FEMA following the 2008 flood, so that we could hire an architectural historian to do the surveys. And they found in these residential historic districts enough contributing homes that had not only architectural character that's been well preserved, but also homes that were owned or built by prominent families that were important in the history of Waverly. So we are very, very fortunate to have 4 historic districts in our town. And we want to put on our website what that means for these homeowners who are in those districts, property owners who are in those districts, as to what does it mean when I'm on the National Register of Historic Places. What can I do with my property and what can't I do? There's a lot of misinformation about that, misconceptions about that. What are these tax credits that are available and how do they work? We just need to get that information out to our community, educate our community in what this means. And so we're going to be doing a lot of work this year on getting that information out, educating our community. Soon we'll have signage that will identify where these historic districts are so that people, when they're driving around town, driving through town, taking a tour of the community, will be able to know exactly when they're in one of these historic districts. So we have a lot of treasures in our community here, and we want to get that word out to everybody. And so we're going to be working hard on that website so we can communicate that, answer questions, provide information, and continue to work on developing neighborhood pride, pride in the city of Waverly, and pride in our town's history. So on behalf of the Waverly Historic Preservation Commission, we thank you, the council, for your support this past year, and we thank you for this opportunity to update you on the work of our commission. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Don, you made reference twice to the website. Are you talking about the city's website?
Yeah, our historic preservation website, which is on the city website. Yeah.
So there's a link.
Yes. Yep. And we've got a lot of information to put on there yet.
I guess I don't necessarily have questions, but thank you very much for everything you do. That's exciting. You guys, it seems like there's a lot of activities going on within your commission, and the things that you've brought with different tours and some of that. Since I've been on council, it seems like very frequently you guys are up to something.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. We'd like to be.
Yeah. One of the questions I had, if I'm in say I'm in an area of town and I'm kind of wondering if I'm in a historic home, or how would you know if you're not in a district and you might? How does that work?
Okay. Well, we're going to have signage that will kind of let you know when you're entering each district. I don't know if you've seen these brown signs that indicate those kinds of things. We'll have those. And then on the street signs on the corners, there will be another banner that says Historic District.
Sure. Yep.
So you'll be able to see that visually. As to which individual homes are the contributing homes, we won't be identifying those specifically, but I think you'll be able to tell visually too which ones contribute there too. So.
Now we have a face to put with the commission. This is Don Meyer. Now Don, we know Don, as you led this very successful campaign at Wartburg College to do that fundraising effort, and but also, if I have this straight, you have an architectural background.
Yes, yeah,
You're
I
an architect.
practiced as an architect for 12 years. Yeah, which
So-
is why I originally got involved with the Historic Preservation
Exactly.
Commission, because
So
it's always been an
let the
interest
town
of mine.
take note that we're dealing with someone with a wonderful background in several directions, but your leadership is truly felt, and
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
and
We have a
echoing
great commission. a
Dave's
great
comments
commission.
here of it's good to have a really active commission and helping lead the town.
Yep, very good.
We thank you for your last efforts and look
Yeah.
forward to the future.
You're very welcome.
I'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Regular business item number 2 is our Planning and Zoning Commission's update report to the council and to the city. We have the Honorable Hank Bagelman, who is truly one of our permission givers in town, to talk to us about planning and zoning.
Well, good evening. It is good to be here. I have the honor to chair the Planning and Zoning Commission, and this is our update. It's a little more formal, perhaps. I really like Don's report. They're doing a lot of neat stuff. Well, as you are aware, the Planning and Zoning Commission is a recommending body to the City Council. It's authorized by Chapter 414 and Chapter 18B, Smart Planning of the Iowa Code. Our primary task is to separate conflicting land uses, such as residential and industrial, to ensure new development is located according to the comprehensive land use plan, and to promote quality development that won't harm public health, safety, or welfare. We have 9 commission members appointed by the mayor with the approval of City Council. Their 5-year terms are staggered to facilitate an orderly transition. They are, in the class of 2017, Mary French. In the class of 2018, Rich Dane, who is also the vice chair of the commission, Kathy Olson. In the class of 2019, Kate Payne and Heidi Solheim serve. In the class of 2020, David Huser and Bill Wilson. And then in the class of 2021, Alan Hagensick and myself. Our primary city staff resource persons are Ben Cohout. He's the Community Development and Zoning Specialist. Bill Werger, who's City Attorney and Economic Development Director. Mike Cherry, the City Engineer and Public Works Director. And Tab Ray, the Leisure Services Director. They say, how do you rope all of these people in? Well, as you know, we have public hearings. And when you have a public forum, there are questions that are going to come up that you need people that bring expertise to the podium and can answer some of the more difficult questions, the more technical questions. But the cooperation of the city staff in making our commission work is outstanding. You need to know it. Ben is our regular guy. He's the person that does all of the prep work and has those things going. And between Bill, Mike, and Tab, we've got the resources to just about take on anything. The comprehensive land use plan, it's displayed on the wall behind you. You'll notice there's 2 panels. One is a map. The other is a set of goals and objectives for this 10-year period. In my view, it's our most important contribution to the long-term health of our city. The plan guides physical development of the community for a 10 to 20-year period, and frequently more. For example, the Cedar River Parkway is a project that is more than 50 years in development. It shows up on the maps from the 1960s. So sometimes you've got to take a truly long view if something is going to be able to come together. The comp plan is a statement of policy. It's guided by citizen input. It's developed by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it's adopted by the City Council. The purpose of the comp plan is to involve residents in discussing the future of the community, to establish land use patterns that are logical, orderly, and convenient, and to protect private and public investment, and to comply with Iowa's Smart Planning Act of 2010, which requires communities to consider smart planning principles when developing or amending their comp plan. Having an up-to-date comprehensive land use plan goes a long way to underwriting general fund revenues, in particular those resulting from property taxes, typically the most significant revenue source for Iowa cities. Additionally, the plan protects and optimizes property values by balancing competing interests of private landowners. It provides continuity across time by offering a predictability of future conditions. It protects public investment in roads, sewer, water, and public facilities. And it protects environmental resources. It promotes economic development, and the plan can provide a basis for other plans such as urban renewal and revitalization. Typically, it takes more than a year to complete the comprehensive planning process. During the 2015-2016 fiscal year, we conducted multiple rezoning requests, with most requiring public forums. And you've noticed that we take a bit longer in our public hearings than perhaps some would like. But our objective is to get as much information as we possibly can on the table, because those proposals are going to come to you, and the more we can air out where the issues are, the better we think our plans or whatever we come up with is going to do for us. During this current fiscal year, we're going to continue to review corridor planning considerations. We've been working on that for almost a year now. We have reviewed and are working on residential zoning district ordinance inclusions that better define predictable residential development. We are ready to conduct a management review of the comprehensive land use plan. Normally, we would have done a full land use plan project on a 5-year basis, to the master on the 10th year, which is the year when the census is done and you've got the freshest data, and then another plan after 5 years. And we decided that we were going to be better off doing a management review at the midpoint, which is fairly typical. Those of you who have an accounting background, management reviews will take a line or two of things to make sure that they're going all right. We'd like to do a management review on the 2010-2011 comprehensive land use plan so that we have a sense, are we meeting the objectives we set? Have things changed enough so we have to modify it? But not a full review, which frankly is expensive, and we think having the review will satisfy what we need to stay current. We're going to be providing continuing education opportunities for commissioners. We had just about every commissioner and several folks from some of the other commissions go with us to the Local Officials Workshop, which is hosted by Gary Taylor of the Iowa State Extension. It takes about 2 years for a new member on our commission to get up and running. There's a lot of detail, and it takes that time, but the program that the state university puts on is excellent, and we've been taking our people there for, well, as long as I've been on the commission. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share what we're doing. You'll obviously hear more from us in the next couple of weeks. And if we get a quorum in August, we'll have a proposal for you on this residential question that I brought up earlier. If you have questions, I'd be delighted to respond.
So Hank, other than the ability to get a quorum, could you identify one or two things that have been particularly challenging to the commission since you've been on?
I've been on a long time. So yeah, there have been some heavy challenges. I think most of it has to do with trying to be consistent. I'm very much convinced that the reason we have the community we have today is because of work people were doing 50 years ago, 60 years ago, in thinking about where they wanted to go. They had a vision for this city. They were clear that there were things that we needed to do in a proper way, and that's why you see the Waverly you see. Some of our members, Dave Huser, for example, has been on many years more than I have, and he's as fresh today as he was, I think, when he started. But we've got, I think we've got a good team of people, and I think they have that long view. It takes that.
I know a couple years ago we, as council, added 2 extra seats to your board to try to help with getting quorums and things like that. Do you think that has helped, or you think it's been beneficial having extra seats, or is it still kind of the same?
Wes, if you do the math, 5 out of 9 or 4 out of 7 are fractional points apart. So no, it doesn't make any difference. Now, what it does do is it's allowed us, for example, as we were doing the study, for example, on the corridor planning, what we did is we created a task force within the commission, and we had the people where we could ask 2 or 3 people to serve on a task force, do the real grunt work to pull those things together. We've done the same thing with the residential updates. We're going to try to get a more clearly defined definition on each of those. That's being done by a task force. Any commission member that wants to sit in with the task force can, but it allows us to do things beyond just the scope of the meeting. We announce each of those meetings, however, as though they were a meeting of the commission, so that should we have a quorum at one of those, that we can at least gather and meet.
So you think it's helped in other ways like that?
I think giving us that breadth, and I don't know. I think we brought on some good folks. If you look at the list of people, got a couple of people that have a strong architectural background, some with business, some are in the industry. So it's a healthy commission.
Thank you.
I said the last time, I need to thank you as well. You don't have tours. You don't get to do tours to show off what you do.
Well, we're on TV.
What's that?
We're on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
But we hope that helps you, though.
Very much so. Yep. But what you get to show off is what you explained, the planning of the city, and you guys do a lot of work too. So greatly appreciate all the work you do. There's a lot of expertise.
No, it's a privilege, really.
You should probably, you said Dave was on a long time. You should probably say that he was 12 when he started, just so.
No. but close.
Okay.
Any others?
I would say I do like that your meetings are on TV. Not every commission needs to be on television, obviously, but I've wondered about maybe like the Waverly Light and Power Board and some other important boards and commissions that we have in town, because it is nice being able to watch your meetings. They're live, or I can watch them on YouTube later, and it gives me a lot of information, and it gives the public a lot of information. So I think it's just really helpful that that your commission is as important that it is televised. So I really do like that.
One of you had asked the question about a downer. I am going to share one. We have public hearings every time we do a zoning change or an ordinance change of that. We send out letters to everyone who lives within 250 feet, I think Iowa code requires 200, but we go 250 so that we're sure to catch people. We had a major project last year that involved one of our former school buildings. We sent out all those letters. We had one person show up. That's the disappointment. There is no place I've ever worked where there was more openness than here. But it's just as when you meet. You can't see the people out there that are watching you on TV. They can see you and they can feel connected, but having you see them makes a difference. But they've got to be here in order to make that work. So the disappointment is that when we have public hearings, whether it's in our commission or perhaps here, to not have the people come out and express their view or just show up because they're paying attention to it. It's an opportunity we can't take for granted, and it's easy to lose.
Yep.
So that's a disappointment.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Hank.
Thank you.
Regular business item number 3 is resolved to accept 25 feet of right-of-way dedication along the 4th Street, Norby's property, in exchange for the city installing a sidewalk. City Administrator for the public, we've alluded to this earlier, but this is part of a larger effort to address in our town. Any comments?
No, you're correct, sir. As we look at sidewalks throughout the community, and we've had inspections for sidewalks in disrepair, and we'll go through inspections for filling gaps of sidewalk. This is similar in what we just discussed in the other zoning as well. Sidewalks on each side of certain roads, and this will connect in then as we move to, I believe, is it Farmers and Quick Star. I think we'll also then add sidewalk and make this area more walkable, which is a good thing citywide. So I think that's kind of the first step of that. And I don't know, Bill, if you have any other comments according to that, but that's kind of where we're heading with it.
Right, trying to connect it on that side.
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. A motion, please.
Would move approval of Resolution 1655, approving the acceptance of 25 feet of right-of-way dedication along 4th Street in exchange for the city installing sidewalk within the right-of-way.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Motion seconded. Council discussion.
Just getting this kind of out there for public consumption. This basically is a wash in terms of the cost of what it would have cost us to buy the right-of-way and what it's going to cost us to put the sidewalk in.
I think historically, we haven't had a lot of interest in selling us the right-of-way, so this was a good way to get the right-of-way purchased and also get the sidewalk in.
It pretty much finishes on the east side all the way down to where the new Quick Star is.
Yeah, the farmers needs to get theirs done, and then there's a couple of buildings in between that, between that and Quick Star, that we have some logistic issues that we're going to work on.
And as I understand the documentation, Norby is on board with this. They're fine with doing what we're proposing.
Yes.
Great homework. Public input. Roll call vote, please.
Angus.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Lampy.
Yes.
Resnick.
Yes.
Resolution 16-55 is unanimously approved. Regular business item number 4 is resolved, emanating from the Soccer Complex Association, that the city donate the asphalt millings from the 16th Street Southwest street work that's next to the high school to their parking lot expansion. City Administrator, thoughts on this one? Or?
I think it's a good fit for what we're doing with the base material. That parking lot has been getting expanded gradually as there's been full put in, and I don't have an issue with the use of it. I know there's some discussion about it potentially going first to the Firemen's Convention. I'm not sure how that'll all play out. I think once you put it down, you run it over how many times. I don't know how you would reclaim it and then bring it back to the parking lot for that. But again, that's kind of some of the issue at hand. And of course, there's been talk about doing the association, the firemen volunteer event 2 years from now as well. So are we talking almost 3 years before it would get back to the parking lot, which is kind of needed now? Or is it right away after the September event? That's what's uncertain. But I do know the recommendation to donate it to the soccer complex parking lot itself is, I think, a good use for it from a city standpoint as far as that needing more parking, as we're seeing a large influx of traffic in that area when it comes to the tournaments and the soccer field association, their tournaments and their fall play. It would definitely assist them. And that being one of the largest city facilities for athletic events from youth up, I think it's just a good overall use of that. As far as the Firemen Association item, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. So,
Well, let's do that under discussion. Motion, please.
Excuse me. I'll move Resolution 1656, approving a donation by the City of Waverly of asphalt millings from the 2016 reconstruction of 16th Street Southwest to the Waverly Shell Rock Soccer Complex.
Second, please.
Second.
Council discussion.
I understood from the material that they're stored at the new public service building now, and the soccer complex would be responsible for trucking to wherever it goes. And
I believe that's correct.
That's correct. Again, I share a concern with it being used at the Firemen's Convention, because right now the millings are clean. They're stored in a on an aggregate base, and as soon as they get spread, thin or 6 inches thick for an access road on top of soil, and then to try to pull that up and remove it again, it's going to inevitably get contaminated with soil, and the suitability at that point for use as a parking lot base is I think questionable. Additionally, there is a need now going into the fall soccer season for expanded parking at this complex, and at best, with them being used at the Firemen's Convention, it would be at the end of the soccer season before it would be utilized. Additionally, Jeff Soash, who's the facilities manager and on the board for the Soccer Association, is still trying to seek contractor services, and I think he's preferably trying to get donated contractor services to prepare the site for placement of the millings. And again, I would, put the caveat that the millings not be donated until such time as that site is prepped and ready for their placement.
Thank you, City Engineer.
One additional thing is we require that by ordinance that parking facilities be treated for dust control through either asphalt paving, concrete paving, or seal coating. The soccer complex has seal-coated parking facilities. That would be another issue for them to resolve, is that once the millings are placed as the base material, when do they intend to seal coat or pave the parking lot?
Council wisdom.
We have a question for either Mike or James, just for my information. How did we get two separate entities involved with the same amount of material? It's almost like a little tug-of-war going on here. Is there some history here that we need to know about?
Well, traditionally, we have reused millings on parking lot and trail projects as the base material. Going forward, with the milling, the pavement removal by milling of 16th Street Southwest, we have about 1,700 tons of millings, enough to do about 3,000 square yards of base material at 6 inches thick. Again, historically, we have salvaged and used that material as a base material for trail construction or parking lots. It is not, in our view, of high enough quality for reuse as a base material under new roadway construction. There are exceptions. We have reclaimed, and there are exceptions. But this is the last project of this type coming up for probably the next 5 years. So the availability of asphalt millings to be used on future
trail projects won't be there if we donate these millings. This is a needed use now, and that's where, again, in talking this over at staff level, our preference would be to see it used for the parking lot immediately as soon as it can be readied.
Yes, I'm a little confused, and maybe kind of building on what Mike was saying. As I read this, I'm perfectly fine with donating this. So I'm hearing the discussion of the Firemen's Convention. I guess
What's the connection to this?
yeah, how is that part of this? Or I
Jeff
guess I'm
is-
looking for your guidance on what.
I think Jeff's in
good
both
Jeff is
camps.
a member of the fire department, he's co-chair of the convention, so that's probably where the connection comes.
So we're trying to get mileage out of this millings.
I haven't been involved in any
Okay.
conversation with the fire department or the convention using these, so I don't know what their plan is, but the connection is Jeff is,
So the theory is good, that, if you could do that, but it doesn't sound like it's easy to do. Therefore, and it's going to be contaminated by the time we get there, and I understand
I have reservations about
Yeah.
the
But
ability.
we're not sure of the timing. It could be years if they truly go after the convention,
Yeah,
another 2 years, and then you're not going to reclaim those then.
Right, and there won't be any more millings available for the next 4 to 5 years.
So I guess your question is basically kind of looking out for them that the millings may not be good enough quality for a base.
Once they're placed at the Firemen's Convention, to try to, at that point, reclaim them, I think, is
stretch.
questionable, yeah.
There won't be any millings off Bremer Avenue?
With asphaltic pavement of hot mix asphalt, they will reclaim it, they will salvage it, and they'll reincorporate it into new asphalt concrete if it meets the requirements. Seal coat millings really don't meet the material requirements to reincorporate into hot mix asphalt. So that's why we've been salvaging by milling the pavement and reusing them on other projects. That, as I indicate here, we feel this has a value of $5 to $6 a ton, or a total value of about $10,000.
So maybe what you're recommending is we donate it if it's used for the soccer complex, because then it'll be useful, and otherwise it's probably not.
That'd be my recommendation, is to specify that it can only be utilized to expand the parking facilities at the soccer complex.
Say the resolution is fully written, as whereas there is no mention of convention in it.
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit
Right.
confused.
So if we pass
The way
it,
I read it is it should only
it
be.
almost have to be amended if we're going to
Yeah.
do that. And so if we pass as is, it goes directly.
But I'm a little confused, so the same people that are in charge of the soccer complex understand this. So,
Well, okay, so the resolution, as I understand, because I don't have in front of me, is specific to the soccer complex. We will convey to Jeff that the resolution adopted is specific for use at the soccer complex only.
Last weigh-ins. Public input. Roll call vote.
Gade,
Yes.
Lampy,
Yes.
Kangas,
Yes.
McKenzie,
yes.
Scherer,
Yes.
Resnick.
yes?
Resolution 16-56, unanimously approved. Regular business item number 5 is cancellation of city council study sessions for July and August. Let's go with the motion first.
Well, I will move that we approve cancellation of city council study sessions for July and August 2016.
To be discussed, it'll need a second. Is there a second? dies for lack of a second. Regular business item number 6 is mayoral appointments. And I'd like to appoint Adam Hagensiech to the Planning and Zoning Commission and reappoint John Kirk to Cable Telecommunications Commission. Is there a motion?
I would move approval of the mayoral appointments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor signify with yes.
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 Opposed with no. Approved. Look forward to John's continued work and Adam's new role as a young person, young business person in town, doing some great work with the planning and zoning. We have before us 4 reports: Economic Development Commission minutes for June 14th. Any comments?
No, sir, I have no comments.
Officially received. Golf Commission minutes.
I would say for Golf Commission, one thing to be aware of and to look forward to is Waverly is going to add foot golf to the golf course, so soccer players and things like that. It's basically, I don't know, like Frisbee golf, but with a soccer ball. So in between, there's going to be 9 foot golf holes on 4 of the golf course holes, and they'll be in the rough areas. So there'll be tee boxes, and then it's like a 2-foot diameter hole where your soccer ball could go in and you kick along. And so it's a thing for families or soccer players and things like that. So if you need more information about it, I know you can YouTube it, and there's tons of foot golf courses around the country. It's kind of a big thing that's going on, and a lot of golf courses have started to incorporate that in with golf. So Waverly's going to give it a shot this fall and see how it goes. And it's going to start here at the end of July into August and go through the fall. So.
Sounds good.
I'm really sorry to hear that. I was looking forward to the use of golf balls, kicking a golf ball,
Well, you can do that too. Yeah.
because that would take real skill.
Yeah.
You have council approval, Mike.
I've kicked a few of my golf balls.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
After missing
Do it
shots.
right now. What are you talking about?
Golf Commission minutes are officially received. Leisure Services Commission minutes for June 16th. Comments? Officially received. We have the Waverly Senior Calendar for July. Comments?
Again, it's a very busy place. If you have an opportunity to stop there over their lunch period, you can be educated by some of the seniors here in town. And again, it's just a great place. And if you haven't noticed, they put a new addition of a front porch. So it's kind of going in with the mayor's, let's have front porches and sit out and talk to our neighbors. And
I like it, and I was there for their dedication, and it was a great event. Thank you for watching over that one, Dan. We officially received their calendar. Staff comments.
I don't have any, but I think staff may.
I just want to let the council know that the commission, the Economic Development Commission, has put forth some ideas for topics for next week, and I will be sending that out to all of you to comment and maybe for additions or ideas to add to that. And then we'll make a final, it'll just be the topic list. It's and then we can work with that next week when we do the joint meeting. So I'll send that out tomorrow.
Sounds good. Other staff comments? Mr. Cherry.
Next Sunday is the fly-in breakfast at the airport from 7:30 to 12:30 in the morning. And in addition to a wonderful Lions Club pancake breakfast with sausage and ham and everything else, there are also going to be airplane rides available on Iowa's newest and smoothest runway, which opened up July 1st. So bring the family out. I know my kids I've taken them up a couple of times. We have wonderful pilots. If you point out where your house is, they'll make an effort to fly over it, and bring your camera along too. So,
How many people can go in a plane, Mike?
these are typically 4-passenger planes, so you get the pilot and 3 passengers. So,
Passengers.
I believe it's $25 per person.
Yeah. Sounds great. Great opportunity. Thank you. City Council comments. Let's start with Mr. Leisure Services.
Mike alluded to that, but this weekend is Heritage Days. They've got a really nice lineup, lots of activities. The parade's at 10 o'clock on 10:30, thank you, on Saturday. It's going to end up at the pool. I'm not really sure exactly where it's going, but yeah, they've had to move it around because Fifth Street's torn up.
Goes from
Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue to Fifth Street, and then kicks over on Bremer and goes down 7th, I think.
No, it comes
7th Avenue.
comes from the
Yeah,
horse
but
barn down 7th to the tennis courts there,
And they go,
or down 5th to the tennis courts. It'll turn north at the tennis courts and go along 7th,
yeah.
and then south at 5th Street,
Yeah.
all the way down. And I'm not sure how they're jogging over to get to.
And they jog 2 blocks over,
would you mind
take 7th again.
Put something in the paper, maybe? So we know where to put our lawn chairs.
There is there will be a B section in tomorrow's paper.
The map's on their website, too.
City Facebook page.
Facebook page.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, it comes down 5th Street instead of 6th, and then the 5th Avenue changed.
Wes can sit in his front yard.
I can walk right out my front door instead of walking out my back.
Okay, so I kind of punted on that one. If you walked in the building, you will see a large black thing with a globe on top of it. That's the first enough for everyone food receptacle, and there'll be 4 more around town. And the first one's here basically because it was the biggest and the most difficult to place, so we put it here.
It looks wonderful, very impressive. And
It was a
helps
grant
lift
from
up
the Iowa
huge
Arts
need.
Council, and we used middle school students to design them, high school students to build them, and professional artists to paint the spheres.
Type of food that you're looking, or what you're looking to collect is,
Each one, yeah, meat. The round holes are for cans. The square holes are for like dry goods, like noodles and cereals and that sort of thing.
Drop off pork chops with Rich or something.
But it's a very serious effort, even with some humor here. Council comments, Dan or Dave?
A couple weeks ago, Tab broke the news to us that our bur oak tree out front is ailing and probably won't be with us for more than a couple of years. I don't know if we ever thought of maybe starting a project or getting an idea if everybody's ever seen a tree trunk timeline where they slice the tree trunk itself and then put, notable dates on that, whether it be with our, with the nationwide or, and then incorporate some city dates too. I thought that might be a good project or a good idea, maybe.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We kind of thought about a slice maybe here at City Hall and a slice at the library, but did not think about putting some dates on it. That's a great idea.
Another idea I had too is maybe create some sort of or notable piece of furniture for the lobby out here or something like that too. So
You're hitting all the points. I was approached by a local woodworker who also is a mill, and he and I are going to get together sometime and talk about some potential things that could happen.
I thought it would be neat if we could salvage some of it and make it into wood plaques when we give out a proclamation or whatever to.
Lots of branches.
it'd be a considerable amount of lumber, I think, in that.
And we could sell things to pay for new trees.
Exactly right.
Is it still producing seed?
Acorns?
Yeah, we hope to harvest acorns this fall, and then that's probably after that we'll probably take it down.
David, comments?
Just this 2016 legislative changes additions, do we need to talk about that at all? Stuff that, this is just,
Just for you to add to your books.
okay. Other than that, nothing from me.
Thank you. This side, Pro Temp?
I guess, as I've been thinking about how I want to say this, I don't want to exclude all city employees because I'm grateful for all the work that they do, and I think James hopefully keeps that passing on, that we're thankful for that, but in light of the last week or so, I just wanted to again highlight Chief Purcell and our police officers and highlight our thanks for all they do for our city and our support for them. Good wishes. Thank you.
Well done. Mike?
No, Tim just took my comment.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to comment too on how fortunate we are to be in a community where we look up to the police force instead of down at it. And I know the slogan, what is it, Black Lives Matter, is out there quite a bit. I hope, and what I see in this community is we cherish all lives, and hopefully we stay that way as a community, and I think it's what draws people here. And again, just kudos to the police force for what they do and the fact they have to step in and help us out once in a while when we might not want them to. But they do a great job and appreciate it.
The symbol is still Mr. Purcell carrying that child that made the Des Moines Register front page. That is what we are about, and that's why we have such respect at you leading a caring department. Thank you. Wes?
I guess I just would like to again remind people of Heritage Days this weekend. You know, it's Waverly's town celebration, and it's important. I know of at least 4 class reunions that are using it as their class reunion time, and that's the ones I know of. So,
How many classes were you in?
yeah, I am one of them. But I would have to have it spaced out.
It was the junior year that was tough, I know.
I know there's a 15th, a 20th, a 30-something, and a
Took him a while, but he
40-something
got
all
there.
going on at the same time, and they all chose Heritage Days as their time to have their class reunion. So, you know, it's just, it's a very important part of what Waverly is and always has been, and there's lots of great activities from, you know, free bands. How many times you get to go see a band for free? 2 nights in a row. You can go take airplane rides. You can even skydive out there. They've done that a few times.
Yeah, they're not going to
Do the skydive this year. So I mean, and just the parade and everything else that goes along with it, and fireworks, and so just a good way to celebrate the heritage of our town. And it's, like I said, it's used as a place, you know, for classes that are 40-some years out of high school to still come back and celebrate Waverly that way. So
Can't top those words. Motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second?
Second?
All in favor? Yes? Yes. Adjourned.